gathered today to talk about how can we effectively serve kids with different abilities. So if we want to talk what is disability first, so if we can click for next slide. So disability is any impairment like a kid can have that can hinder their function, basically. It can be mental, it can be physical, it can be both. Most of the time, it can be both. Or it can be even psychological. So such an anxiety can be disable the child with like an anxiety. So why we're talking about that today? Why it's important for HTC servants to learn about kids with disability? So if we click for next slide, this is how many kids we have at HTC that they have disability. I want you to know this is 12 kids, but I want you to know that we didn't count how many kids with ADHD, and we have plenty. So those are the 12 kids that they have disability. We have one in BB&Me class. He's joining very soon. We have one in kinder, one in first and second. In third and fourth, we have 3 kids. Fifth and sixth, we have 2 kids. High school, we have one. Not regular, but we're trying to get him more to get involved. And college, we have one, and he's also not regular, and we're trying him to get more. So click for next. Most of our kids, they have autism, like 92%, and 8%, which is one kid, he has cerebral palsy. So we're gonna touch base on cerebral palsy a little bit, but most of our talk will be on autism. So basically, cerebral palsy is, it's a stroke that can happen during birth or through the first week of life. This is basically what cerebral palsy. So any brain injury to the child during birth or after that, like in the first week of life, which is very like fragile state, they can cause like impairment in like motor impairment, which is movement. It can be one limb, it can be upper body and lower body, but luckily our kid in HTC, he only has just one limb. So we're gonna focus more on autism spectrum disorder. So if we can go to next slide. So there is so many developmental disability, not just autism, but we, again, just for the sake of this presentation, we're gonna talk about autism and Asperger's. Asperger's is basically autism when the kid is fully developed language, conversational, that's what we call it, and if they actually have near normal cognition or normal cognition. So we have kids with Asperger's at church, and we have kids with autism. However, just for the sake of medical, there's no more Asperger diagnosis. It's called autism level 1. So there's autism level 1, 2, and 3 based on the function of the kid. We can go for next. No worries. So before we start, and this is from one of the kids, our kids on the spectrum, he said he doesn't like anybody to call him autistic, okay? And he said that labels are for jars, not for people. So when we talk about kids with autism, and instead of saying autistic, let's take that term. I know some people use it, and it's totally fine, but it starts to get like, if somebody with diabetes, we just don't say, we don't give a label of diabetes. We say it's an individual with diabetes. So we say an individual with autism versus autistic. So we need to pay attention to that. So what is the symptoms? What are you gonna see in class, really, when you see kids with autism? The social communication. There is social problem. You find out the kid is sitting in class, but he's not really, or her, not really interacting with peers, okay? They focus more on object versus people. You can ask a question, you can tell me like, can you really connect with a child with autism? Absolutely. But When you connect with them, connect on their own terms versus your terms. I know we connect through what? Conversation, deep conversation, physical touch, but for them it's different. So let's say a kid in your class, and we have a kid, she likes to go downstairs after Sunday school, and what she likes to do, sit down on the grass and touch the grass. She stims, something called stimming, and we're gonna go over it again, okay? And the time that I can sit down and have a deep conversation with her through that. When we sit down together, touch the grass, and then talk. That's how she connects. We have another student that he likes to feed the duck. You wanna have fun time with him? Go feed the duck with him, okay? And that's how they connect. Do they connect back? Absolutely. I remember when I had one of my relatives' funeral, one of the students kept on asking me, Mariam, do you feel okay? Mariam, are you okay? Mariam, are you okay? And he gave me a hug I will never forget in my whole entire life. He gave me a 2-minute hug. And they tend not to like hugs much, okay? But he gave me a hug because he felt like he wanted to comfort me. That's connection. So when you want to connect with them, connect on their level and not how you connect typically. Repetitive behavior. Did you ever see kids flapping their hand, moving object in front of their eyes? That's called stimming, okay? And stimming behaviors, it's a repetitive behaviors that the kids is doing in order to regulate their emotions, okay? So they do it, it feels good. They feel safe when they do it, okay? You can redirect it. Please do not stop stimming. When you see the kids stimming, you can redirect to more socially acceptable stimming, but do not stop altogether stimming because it feels good. We have one student, he likes to put his hand on his bucket because he stims, and he doesn't want anybody to see his stimming. He's well aware, he's high functioning, well aware, and he's like, it's not socially acceptable to stim in front of people, so I'm gonna hide, okay? And people can say, he's like, he's putting himself, like his hand in his bucket in the liturgy, that's disrespect. He's not disrespecting the liturgy, he's actually stimming in a socially acceptable way. So sensory sensitivity, another problem that can be problematic in the classroom is the sensory issues. So basically, kids can be sensory seeker. That means they want that sensation, they need extra sensation, or sensory avoider. Sensory is too much for them. So you can have a kid in classroom like they cover their ears, it's too loud, okay? The sound is too loud. How they perceive sound is too loud, and I have a video to show you how they perceive the world, how they perceive sounds, okay? Or they can be a seeker. They need that sensation. We have a student, all she needed to calm down, she used to bang her head in my chest. She's not hurting me, okay? She's trying to get that sensation. She doesn't know how to get that sensation. She's trying to get that sensation. So once we give her a Play-Doh, nothing else, just a Play-Doh, she's sitting down, she focuses on the listen, and she's answering questions. So she focused, she needs that sensation. That's the sensory sensitivity. Communication differences, not all kids on the spectrum can speak fully. Some can, absolutely, but not all of them. And they can use either communication device or they can use sign language and so on for a different way of communication. So here is a video. I don't know if we can we play that video? Of a kid, how he perceived the world. Is there a way we can? No worries, I can send it. Oh, here we go. Yes.
7, 8, 9.
Take my hand.
No, Alex. It's fine, isn't it? It's fine. I'm not naughty. I'm autistic. And I just get too much information.
He's using the word autistic. So that's how they perceive the world, okay? I want you to imagine you're sitting down and all the sounds is around you. Definitely you're gonna have a meltdown. So that's why they have a meltdown in classroom. Sometimes it's too much sensation for them. It's too much. The kids are loud. The servants is loud. The walking of the servants, like even like the foot, like anything can be loud for them, and they just have a meltdown because of that. I have another video about stimming, just to understand if you see a kid stimming in your class. So
You and I both do this thing called stimming, which is short for self-stimulatory behavior. You've probably heard the word associated with autism, but everyone stims, including you. Stimming is the repetition of physical movements, sounds, words, or moving objects. The difference between your stimming and mine as an autistic person is intensity and quantity. Although between you and me, the quality of mine is probably better too. Stimming as a neurotypical person might look like clicking a pen, bouncing your leg, humming, or biting your nails. Stimming as an autistic person could look like pacing, shaking objects, finger flicking, or rocking. People stim because it feels good. It can help us regulate stress and other emotions. Autistic people might stim more because in addition to helping us regulate our emotions, it can help us process sensory input.
So again,
you and
stimming,
I both do this.
Okay, thank you. So again, stimming can help them regulate their emotions. So if they're stimming in your class, let them be. You can redirect if it's too much, but do not stop a kid stimming. So for the functioning, I know there is the high functioning autism versus low functioning autism, which is understandable. However, every kid struggle the same. In a matter of fact, when they have high functioning, which means they have normal like cognitive, they actually well aware and they have a lot of psychological issue. It can be an anxiety. They have high anxiety because they understand they're different. And they can question God. They can say, why me? Okay, and we have students, they ask that questions. They ask, why me? Why God give me that cross? So when they're high functioning, they don't struggle less. They still struggle. However, totally understand that the language is important and the cognition is important, but that level of autism is a wheel versus a linear. It's not a linear, high functioning, struggle less, low functioning, struggle more. No, it's a wheel. They can have a lot more anxiety, a less social problem, a more behavioral problem. It can come with different things. So how can we include our kids with love in HTC, in the Sunday school? First, let's talk about challenges. What challenges we face as servants and them as kids. Accepting by peers for them is important. If we, the servants, don't understand how to deal with them, can you imagine like 7, 8 years old? They don't know. They don't know how to include them. Socialization opportunity, unfortunately, during the summer nights, I saw a lot of kids with special abilities. They're walking down there with no socialization. So as a servants, this is when we step in and we create social environment for them. Specialized curriculum is the curriculum is too hard for them to understand. How can we simplify that in the regular classroom, in our classroom? For the servants, awareness is very important for the servants. Some servants, I'm pretty sure all the servants in this room and in HTC, they have a heart of gold and they want to serve. Sometimes they feel like, I don't know what to do. I don't want to step boundaries. I don't know if the mom will be sad. I don't know if this is good or bad. I don't know if I should hug or not, you know? So awareness is important, or lack of training. And curriculum modification, do we have like a modification of the curriculum? I know some servants, they already do it. I know one kid, he confessed in typing, and Abuna's pretty nice of him that he read his confession versus he's verbally talking, because he's not talking, he has anxiety. Family denial is another thing. It can happen. We can have a kid, very obvious, there's symptoms, and the family is like, they're in denial. And we're going to talk about stages of grief, and it's a normal part of grief to have denial. Disruptive behaviors, and this is a lot of servants are voicing their, reading their opinion about, okay, they're disrupting other kids. What should we do? Okay, and that's totally understandable. And if we have the good training and if we know how to, it will be easy for us to help those disruptive behaviors. Yes. So how can a Coptic church meaningfully serve children with different abilities? So first of all, and I want you to underline that word 100 times, acceptance. Accept the kids the way they are. Do not try to change anything, just accept. They understand when you accept them. They understand when they're accepted. We're all unique. We all have our different personalities and unique personalities, and God accepts us all. And God accepts us with all what we do, right? So accept one another as Christ accepts us. So how can we create a Christ-like environment? Christ-like. Imagine if Christ is serving the kids, what he would do, okay? We foster compassion, that's important. Patience, okay? I know it's kind of hard, totally understand. But patience is very important with the kids. It takes a long time. Those kids need extra work, extra prayers, and extra work, okay? One kid can be working the whole summer on just folding the laundry. That's the summer, just folding the laundry. Or one kid might be working the whole summer to say to stranger hi. So they take time to learn, but they get there. So remember the miracle of the 2 fish and 5 loaves? Just imagine that their abilities is that little, okay? But Christ said something very powerful in that miracle. He said, bring them here. That's all we need to do. Bring them here. That's it. We bring them to the Lord. He take that limited ability. He multiply it. Okay? And he can make something beautiful out of those abilities that everybody can glorify God with. So, practical, what should we do? Structure is the key for those kids. They need structure. They need routine. I always say, if you walk in our house, even maybe during the weekdays, anytime, any day, we will be doing the same thing. Exactly. The shower is in the same thing. Reading the Bible is in the same time. Studying in the same time. Sleeping in the same time. Routine make them calm. They know what's next. So they make them calm emotionally, okay? Provide structure, make the expectations clear in the classroom, and try to use visual aid, okay? If you need material for your class, please come talk to Abunaz and FIFA. Please, if you need material for the class, okay? But try to find visual aid, okay? Visual goes really good with those kids. Once they see, we're gonna pray first, and then we're gonna do the listen, and then that's what we're gonna do. These make them calm. So 5 key support for the kids. Priming is the key. If you have the kid and tell him exactly what the day will be, that will make them calm, okay? So priming is very important. So next week, we're gonna do this. On Monday, we're gonna do this. And boy, they don't forget at all. They remember, and they will question you, and they will ask you, okay? But priming is very important. Academic modification is another thing. If they need, like, the paper you print it, if you print it with, like, a large font, that can be a modification. Another thing is visual support. If you have visual goes along. And if you think about it, even with kids, neurotypical, we say neurotypical and neurodivergent for kids with autism. So even for neurotypical, it will not hurt. It will actually benefit the kids. So if you can have that component of visual support, that will be great. Reinforcement. Kids with autism, when they have therapy at home and therapy in the hospital, they do something called the ABA. This is when they do something, they get something. That's how they train them. They get something, they do the task, you get the reinforcer. So that again goes really well, especially for younger. Teenage, not so much. You're like, I'm old now. I don't want to be like, rewarded like a baby. But for younger kids, it goes like really miracle. You do this, you're gonna get this, okay? Home base. Home base is a very good idea to have in classrooms, and if you wanna explore more, talk to the church leaders. We can have like a little corner, like a mat, small mat, and 2 pillows, and that's the home base. Whenever they're overstimulated, whenever they're overwhelmed, they can just go and sit down in that corner. Not just for the neurodivergent, even neurotypical can do that too. You're overwhelmed, you need a minute, go sit down over there. Instead of sending them outside, okay, just do that. Please, if the kid has behaviors, do not call the parents to come pick them up. This is the worst you can do for a parent. Come pick him up, he's distracting the kids. If they're distracting, talk to Abuna and Viva. Come talk to Abunas and come talk to Viva. And they will direct you what to do. But please do not call the mom and say, come pick the child. You can call the mom and say, hey, what can I do? Let's collaborate together. But we're on one side. We're on one team. Sensory tools. Ooh, those are miracles. Sensory toys are fidgets that the kid can have in order for them to be able to regulate their emotions. There's tons over there. I have some for you today to come pick up if you have somebody in your class. But those are little toys that the kids can just fidget with them, okay? Even there's some for adults that, like the ring for adults, and they can just like roll the ring. And that can take from all that sensory or tactile, the sensation they need, and they can sit down and stim and they can focus with that. So please explore with that. Okay, family. When you deal with the family, okay, just understand the family dynamic. When you have a kid with disability or with different ability, it can affect the immediate family, it can affect the siblings. I'm gonna talk about the siblings, and it can affect even the extended family, okay? So it can affect decision about work. Mom can like be a stay-home mom or put her like studying on the side. I cannot do that now. So it can be a financial burden. It can be like, it can be a lot of stress. It can be stress on the marriage itself too, okay? There's some cases of divorce because of having kids with disability. These parents have experienced like a very great loss, the loss of having the perfect child, whatever that means. But the healthy child, the perfect child, the normal life, because all their life is around that need, that the child need. Okay, go ahead. So the stages of grief, as we all know, okay, it starts with the shock and denial. Didn't happen to me. That's not me. It's somebody else. Okay, and then anger. And that anger can be with anybody. It can be towards God too. It's like, why me? Okay? And people can stuck in this stage for a while. And then depression, and all the way until they find the acceptance. However, the stages are not numbered. It's not 1, you go from 1 to 2, 2 to 3. It's not that way. It's a circle. Somebody can be in a denial and then go to the anger, acceptance, back to anger. Okay? So you don't know when you talk to the parents where in the stages. Whenever they are, this is normal part of grief, and respect whatever they at. If they're in denial, and yes, that can happen. And if they're angry, they can be angry with the world, with everybody around them. Okay? So respect and understand that this is normal part of grief. And when you approach the parents, approach them gently. Okay? The parent doesn't want to feel that they fight the church, because that means they're fighting God. And they fight a lot with the school system, trust me. There's a lot of fighting there. And the last place they want to fight, they want to fight church, because that means God. And God, give me the kid with disability. Now God doesn't accept me and my kid. And this is the last thing they want to feel. Okay. So what do? Build a relationship with the parents. Ask them. Seek their opinion. It's like, hey, I noticed so-and-so was like a little happy today, a little excited today. Hey, what do you do when he does that at home? And get more information, okay? Please, after Sunday school, when you meet the parents, pick up on something very small the kid did and deliver that message. Hey, he was able to sit down for 10 minutes straight. You have no idea. That parent can go home and celebrate. You have no idea what parents with special needs celebrate. It's ridiculous. I'll give you an example. One student today was able to take a picture with peers at church. That's huge. That's a progress right there. Somebody else will be like, what's the big deal about it? No, it is a big deal. It is a big deal. Okay? So we celebrate small achievements. So whatever you see the small achievement, instead of focusing on the disruptive behaviors, focus on that achievement. Say, hey, he was able to answer this question. Oh, he did that. That was great. Okay? Respect the family concerns if they have, and confidentiality. We don't go around and say this is happening or this is not. Okay? Our kids are nowhere to be ashamed of, but you don't know if they're still in the denial stage. So respect that. Okay, siblings, something that nobody talk about. Siblings of kids with special needs need special attention. If you have a kid in your class, they have like a brother or sister on the spectrum, this kid needs your special attention. They feel confused. Parents feel confused. How about kids? They feel jealous. Why everything has to be for him? Why, when we have to go out, our kids with special needs, with autism, they have sensory issues that they're picky eater. There's food they cannot they cannot tolerate, they cannot eat. So when we go to a restaurant, we have to ask if they're gonna be able to eat that. The siblings, like, why you ask him? Why not me? So they feel jealous. They don't understand. Okay? I have a student, his brother said, I didn't pray for a brother like him. He doesn't understand. He's young. He's very loving, but he's young. Okay? I have another student that his sister said, I don't want to get married because I don't want to have a kid like my brother. A fear of a teenage. She has all the right to feel that way, right? So they can feel embarrassed from like the behaviors, the stimming, and they can have responsibilities. Mom can say, hey, can you take care of him? Oh, can you read with him? Oh, can you help him with that? And that's normal for the parents to ask that way, okay? Because they're trying to teach the young child the responsibility, but the child feels responsible for that too. Okay, they have mixed emotion. They have love, pride, but worry, fear, confusion. So please, if you have a kid with disability and you have the sibling in class, pay attention to that kid. And I will leave you with this Bible verse. And here I have some books. If you want to borrow any of the books, if you would like to know more, I have some fidget toys, if you want to take some for your class, if you think somebody will benefit from that. And I have some cute little keychain, just to remember today's talk. And do you have any questions? Yes.
How would you know what the kids like if the parents are not open to telling us what they like or even telling us that they are different?
If they're different. That's a great question. So you can ask a previous servant. You can actually talk to the kid, build a rapport with the kid and talk if they conversational. And you can try to build a rapport with the parent. Like, the parents will feel more open if you tell them, like, they're doing amazing in class, they did this, they did that, what they like to do at home. So you don't have to go from that, like, door of, like, they're different and let me know how can I help with that. Go from, oh, they did this, you know? So kind of sandwich it. Yeah, that's a good question.
The home-based thing that you meant for every class to have a spot in the classroom that's just designed for that?
As needed. Yeah, as needed. If there is kids will benefit from that. The space. Yes. Yeah, third and fourth, we have 3 kids in there. Yeah. Yes.
So the thing that you were saying about like the siblings feeling jealous of other kids, is it possible that that could happen in class with the other kids? Like if we're giving more attention to a kid with special needs, can the other kids get jealous that we're giving that one more attention? How can we do it?
That's an amazing question. I like that question much. Yes, that happened. And it does happen. And I get the look of like, why you give her Play-Doh and not me? So we try, in third and fourth, we try to give the Play-Doh for everybody. We did that before. Yeah, it did work some. But yes, that can happen. And I will say proper education for the kids at this age for differences will be great. We always talk about differences in class, that we're different. And everybody's different, everybody has different needs, but try your best to make it like neutral, kind of, like don't give too much attention to one. I noticed that in third and fourth when we're together, yes. Mm-hmm.
So, for the parents, how often do you feel that the servants need to connect with them on a regular basis to give them feedback and to corroborate to make sure it's a partnership? So, in other words, do you recommend once a month report card and not necessarily like bad or good, but like progress? Areas that maybe we need more feedback on to be able to serve them better? That's one question. I have another one after that.
Do you want me to answer as a parent or as a servant?
Both.
Okay. As a parent, every day. Like as much as you can. The more you tell me progress, the more I can effectively like help at home. So the more the merrier. As a servant, I don't know how practical, yes, is to like do a progress report every week. But yeah, absolutely. If we can have that progress like weekly or monthly, that will be amazing. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. One-on-one is actually a model that help kids during school. Okay, so if they can attend regular classroom, and we have like the PowerPoint, the rest of the PowerPoint about the push-in or pull-out services. I sent it to you. So there's two models of education. We can have a special education class. It's important, necessary for some kids, not all. But there is the push-in services, that's the pull-out. The push-in services when we have a one-on-one with the kids in a regular classroom. If the kids are able and capable of sitting down in a regular classroom, even if they don't understand like 100% of the material, they need to be in the least restrictive environment. And the least restrictive environment, that means the kid should be with his neurotypical peers. So in that case, it will be good if we do a one-on-one. So one-on-one, that means your service will be to sit down with the kid and just like make sure they're engaged, make sure they're participating, and just see what they need during the day. Super easy service, super easy. Okay? You don't. It will be a lot better for the kid to have the same servant all the time when they move from class to class. I don't know if it'd be good for the servants or I don't know, but for the kid, it will be ideal, yes. But you go inside the school, the class, you sit down next to the kid and you enjoy. And trust me, you will enjoy it. Yeah. Any other questions? Absolutely, yes. Any transition for them is the hardest. So any transition, if we prime them, that's the priming, that's part of the priming. Go and visit that class and, oh, this is gonna be your class in the next 2 weeks, we're gonna come in here. Yeah, that's a great question. Okay, so basically stimming is, I'll give you an example, me sitting down before the presentation and just moving my leg because I'm nervous, okay? That's socially acceptable, okay? So that's like a movement, okay, or a sound that the kids do to regulate their emotion, okay? So let's say the kid's flapping their hand. We teach the kids when they're young to clap instead of like doing something more socially acceptable. Okay? Let's say they're moving an object in front of their eye. We give them like something specifically for that to stim with. So basically, instead of saying do not stim, do not. Okay? We have kids now, they're working. I have a student, he told me like the whole liturgy I'm working on sitting stand. I want to stand. Okay, he's moving his leg during liturgy, and he's trying hard to sit stand. But for him to try on his own, that's different than you come and say, do not stim. That will stress them out. So does that answer the question?
I had just a comment for everybody. These supports, these suggestions of the priming of the day, the routine, the visual checklist, like these kind of things, they're going to benefit all kids. So I would highly recommend that we develop some kind of visual of the breakdown of a typical classroom. Like even if it says prayer, begin with prayer, and then song, and then
languages. Yes.
What if sometimes they would just want it to be like alone, the one like sometimes it opens the door, they just turn away. What should servants do? Should they follow them kind of
Yeah, it's yes, they are overwhelmed and they need to de-escalate. So they need to be outside, just like be outside with them, but not too near, but from space, give them a space, but be there just for safety.
It'd be good for the servants and the team to have kind of that point person that if so-and-so needs a break outside, that's my, I got that. Like that's gonna be me to go out with them. You
Yes.
guys don't have to worry about it. And so it's not disruptive and these kind of things. Even if I'm getting a lesson or whatever, then somebody else takes that responsibility. But I do think that having that understanding of the benefit, the strengths of the team, that would also, yeah, just have the game plan ready.
If we have that servant who's assigned to the kid every day, but then that servant has an emergency that day, how can the rest of the team like kind of step in? Because if the kid's used to having that one servant there with them always, wouldn't that cause undue stress?
Yeah, that can happen, but you can have a substitute and just like let the kid know, prime the kid that Mr. So-and-so is not here, he has an emergency, and you have a sub today. Oh, when they run out? It depends about what's the problem. Why did they run out? So they can miss the whole class, okay? But just be patient because the thing is they can do it for attention seeking. And you have to understand the difference between I'm doing this so I can get your attention, or I'm doing this because I'm overly stimulated. And there is a fine line. So if you understand that we have a kid in the 3rd and 4th, he does it for attention seeking. And we did discuss it, like us, the servants say, you know what, just ignore it. And once we ignore, he's a little calmer now, okay? Because that's attention seeking. That's, hey, you cannot get me, okay? This kid is super smart. He feel like the class is too baby for him, okay? And he understand the material really well, okay? He's very advanced. So he think like it's boring. So let's make some trouble. So it can happen, so you have to understand that it's attention-seeking behaviors or overstimulated.
How do we know if it's attention-seeking or overstimulated?
They will look at you. When it's attention-seeking, they will look at you when they do the activities, like the behavior. They will do the behavior, and then they will look at you to see if like you're paying attention or not. And that's when you cut all eye contact. There's no eye contact. That's attention.
And I ignore it and not look.
Don't even look.
They're doing it and running away, just I'm not looking, not paying attention for the most part to what my reaction, that
Yeah.
just means that they're overwhelmed for the most part.
Most part, because you will know what happened before the behavior. There is something happened before the behavior happened. That trigger.